I don't think it's that far-fetched for both sides to separate anymore, because I don't know if each side wants to convey the same thing. Are the men and the women better off separate? Are they?
We talking sprint culture, we talking track and field. When the gunshot lick it, give a man the chills. We talking speed demons like Usain. The red track where a legend really makes their name. The US and Jamaica, they run the sprinting game. There's nothing like the Olympics for your claim to fame. When you break the world record, you show you ain't the same. From the men to the women, times are insane. Yeah, we talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture.
We got to start asking questions pertaining to what we watched last night. The Athlos track meet. For the event that it was put together very, very well. I'm sure they got all that they wanted to out of it. Was this good track and field? Was it good sports? What I mean by that, well, for one, Jasmine Camacho-Quinn blatantly false started in the women's hurdles. It's not her fault. They ain't call it back. And any good coach will tell you, if they don't call it back, you better keep going. It's not on her. But I mean, it was a blatant false start, and it's a below standard miss. Messiah was pissed. I saw her interview afterwards where she said she was going to protest.
If the sensors went off and people's reaction times was faster than what was allowed, then I think that should be taken into account.
Yeah, another thing, Gabby obviously wasn't even ready. She was the face of the meet, the face of the marketing. She's been promoting it heavily. She may not have won the prize money, but I'm pretty sure she left with the most money. But she obviously wasn't ready. To me, means that she obviously wasn't taking the meet seriously. She's probably not in the greatest shape because the real season is over. And that's cool. But we can't be talking about how this is the standard of what a track and field meet should be when people aren't even approaching it, well, from a competition aspect, like a meet that doesn't mean anything. Because I doubt that Gabby would walk into any championship setting, even a Diamond League setting, like, well, I don't really care about this. This wasn't a fierce track and field competition. It was a celebration of a movement. There's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like we should say it. Am I wrong for that? I think avid sports fans would kind of want to know what they're walking into. Even if they support a movement, they believe in a movement, they may not want to hear about a movement for an entire broadcast. Avid sports fans might want to see some sports. They may want some dialogue about what's going on in the actual sport, what's happening down on there. Talk about the characters and how they're interacting and who they are and what we should know about them and what they're bringing and what to expect and what they did. And track and field is an amazing sport, especially if it's being presented like this. It's a real opportunity to showcase the sport. That's how I would look at it. Maybe I'm looking at it through the lens of a man. Maybe that's not even fair for me to be, and other men with the same desire for sports, to be imposing our desires on the sport. While I believe in the movement, I support the movement, I like sports. I like competition. I like intensity. Maybe that's not what the women want for their version of track and field. Maybe. Because the same thing I always say is, they're on par with the men. They do the same shit as the men. The expectations are the same as the men. It's still on a level with them. Maybe they don't care to be on the level with the men and all that shit. Maybe they want their own shit. Like this. The reality is if there's a disparity between what men want to, as far as how to convey the sport, and what women want as far as how they want to convey the sport, are the men and the women better off separate? Are they? I've been sifting through a lot of comments, a lot of tweets. There's a lot of people that are saying that the women are the draw. And it's funny, I was coming at it like they're being treated like a charity case, right? And it didn't even occur to me that, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe some people just think that the women are the draw in track and field. It's funny because a lot of people have been contacting me saying that, the women are actually, they're easier to market than the men. Is the men's side of the sport just boring now? Is it? I was very strong on the fact that the biggest draw in track and field, hands down, is the men's 100 meters. I do still feel like that. But the gap is closing. You guys got to do something to bring back what it was. I'm not saying you need to be out here talking shit all the time, but what you need to do is you need to be making it clear to everybody that you believe you're the best. And when you make it clear to everybody that you believe you're the best, that's going to come with saying that someone else isn't sometimes. I don't see that intensity. It's so obvious when we get the traction on the men's side. It's in those moments. And it's like, they're not jumping on that. Is he a real dog?
I don't think so. I'm going to just be truthful.
Damn, man. If I'm going straight off what I see, it looks like Noah's ready to talk shit with anybody.
We coming after everything. Ariane got the best of me on the turn. I ain't worried about that. Rivalry between who?
Canada and yourself. That's a body rivalry.
Who?
The men actually have to ask themselves some questions now. What are you guys doing? A lot of the Spurs I'm talking to, it was an amazing event. Yo, it was live. They had this, they had that. Oh my gosh, it was like the most supreme event you could have. Okay, but that spotlight that was shining on them just shone a larger shadow on you, guys. There are people in the world right now that really think that you are the boring side of track and field. So, what? I don't see an urgency from the guys. I almost think that the guys just feel like the 100's always going to be in that play. The men's 100's always going to be in that spot. The reality is the players that are in the space, they got to do something with it. I think a lot of social media stuff is stupid. I think a lot of people that make comments say dumb things. But when you see reoccurring things being said, still may not be true, but you still got to ask yourself why it's even being said. Look at what people are saying. I don't think it's true. Let me make that clear. I see value on the men's side, but that's me because I see what it should be. But at the same time, I can look and see what it is. And I'm telling you that the men have to start asking some questions as far as how they are going to reestablish themselves as pulling their weight in the sport of track and field. Kudos to Athlos. They got what they wanted out of the meet. It was great for the women's movement. In one meet, they were able to show a standard of how a lot of things should be presented. Some things could have been better, obviously, but this isn't a regular thing for them. For the people and the team they put together to be able to put this event out, they did a good job. It wasn't for track and field. It was for the women's movement. That actual movement isn't for women in track and field, but the women in track and field have an amazing amazing skill set that can, help glamorize the movement that they have for the other sports that are struggling with that. Did this event make some strides for track and field in its current model? No. Did it make strides in track and field for another model? Potentially.
We talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture.
Yeah, I seen a lot of guys over there having a great time. They're having a blast.